Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the LCS. As we return to our second game of the day, it's a battle between TL and CLG, and we're going to join Emily over at the Telestrator to break down some of CLG's spring progress in this edition of State Farm Neighborhood Tactics.
Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about a few things that CLG have done to play around their mid jungle. We're going to start in their game against FlyQuest last week, where we have Palafox hitting TFL around like 6 minutes, so you know they're going to be wanting to make a play off of it. We have the setup here where he's already feigning towards bot. And the thing I wanted to call out here is that CLG actually don't go for this play initially. The wave is in a great spot and Contractz gets spotted out there. I feel like previously CLG might have gone for this anyway, so, you know, progress, and they're gonna re-hit it again in a bit. We have Jenkins coming down for a gank from the top side, and I know this was called out by casters as a big mistake or something that didn't work out. I actually don't hate it because Tryndamere has to catch this top wave anyway. And so it still gets the lane in a state where Palafox will be able to make a play later on. And so, again, Jenkins doesn't lose that much for it. Tukui gets pushed back, and as soon as they want to go for this play with the TF, they're able to and kill Aphromu. This is a big way that we got Palafox and Contractz involved in a lot of CLG's wins, where we talk about how he'd be going to side lanes on something like a TF or Ryze. This is the second game where they also play through mid jungle, but in this case, it's going to be trying to get Palafox ahead in the mid lane with Contractz on the Rek'Sai. So he's gonna come in, they blow both mid laners' flashes, and this is something that I know Kobe pointed out on the desk, which is why I wanted the specific desk clip. He's going to point out and draw an arrow right here for the Contractz wraparound Rek'Sai gank, which is something that as Rek'Sai is coming back into the meta, is super easy to do since he's already set up this lane so that he can do that. He immediately comes back in, they land the charm, and they end up killing a Blaze Olive. These are two plays where they're playing through mid jungle a bit differently, but it also, through Palafox and Contractz, this is how they're setting up a lot of their early game success.
I also love the cheeky tunnel that was placed from the first gank.
Reusing
That's still effective in the second gank. I know that's just a small mechanical thing, but it's great to see. But I think that goes and plays so well to the point that I know you've made a number of times, Emily, when it comes to the CLG roster, that Palafox does seem like a key piece to their success, specifically unlocking him to affect the map, whether or not that's ganking for him to create that space, or whether or not that's just getting him out of the lane to go gank himself, essentially.
Yeah, and this was a little bit different, which is why I wanted to show like the two looks.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be important in this series, just focusing on CLG and how they play through mid-jungle. That's something that Team Liquid is going to do. That's what they have done in the past. We're just looking at recency. You know, they've played a lot. I mean, I would say Bjergsen and Santorin right now is probably they're for sure top two. You can make the case for C9 about just playing through mid-jungle. Bjergsen and Santorin consistently will be able to like try to get buy a flash in lane, see if they can get something on the enemy laner, and then they will use that to then go across the map, see if they can make a dive happen in the top side of the map for Bwipo. This has just been a play they've done all split long, and so it's going to be a challenge for CLG because that's something that they have been getting better at. The TL is the master of.
Now, Mark, if not for the TSM versus C9 game to come, this would be the greatest separation in teams in terms of standing that we have today. So by no part of the imagination is this going to be an easy game for CLG. But with Team Liquid having fallen down just last week, I think that's where you start to wonder, what are the things within TL's gameplay that you might be able to target on the CLG side?
Well, no shade, but they don't have Summit, they don't have Blabber, some of these players that are critical for why C9 was able to take down TL. I feel like TL are still clearly the second best team despite that loss that we saw.
Yeah.
But they have had problems that other teams have found as well. They tend to make mistakes in the mid game. They have given up a number of leads. This has resulted in a loss versus Golden Guardians. And so if CLG's early game plays that Emily was highlighting are connecting, and then you catch one of these mistakes that TL tends to make, you can actually run away with that game. It's unlikely, but it's not unreasonable to say that if CLG has a good early game and TL does make one of these fumbles, they can get ahead.
Well, and to your point, the last time these two teams met, we had that play topside, right, where TL kind of over pushes, and CLG, although they don't win that game, are actually able to fight their way back into a more even footing.
Yeah, and what's going to be fun about this game is actually just the top laners. You're right about the fact that, Bwipo is a bit of an X factor. Same with Jenkins. We just saw how, the Kled performance that he has, and he's the type of person that through the, your State Farm analyst segment there, is the type of person that if he has push, he wants to be making plays. He's going to look for something on the map, and that's going to be CLG's way into this game.
So I have a feeling I know where this is going to go, but my question is, can I buy a CLG prediction out of any of you?
It's going to have to be mighty expensive.
Yeah,
What's the price tag of a CLG victory here over Team Liquid? Huh?
Ooh, a nice steak dinner.
Hey, a steak dinner. Hey, I mean, as long as I also get to attend the steak dinner, I'm down for that.
You're going to have to pay for my
That's
steak
fine.
dinner.
I'll do that as long as I can also play party to
and
it.
do the spicy challenge.
That I'm not sure I could do.
For me, it's a favor for a favor. You want a CLG prediction, I'll give you it, but you got to be ready for me to call it later.
That is ominous. So that's the one I'm not touching. I'll go to a steak dinner with you. I might even entertain a very spicy meal with you, Emily, but giving Mark free reign to ask for a favor sometime in the future, that is something I will never do. Taking a look at the strength of schedules for each of these teams as they look to close out the back half of the split. It's CLG today, FlyQuest, Golden Guardians, Dignitas, Quantum Pay, and TSM to close things out for Team Liquid.
Yeah, they should realistically be able to completely clean out the rest of the split. To Mark's chagrin, that the fact that they will end the split with, in my opinion, 3 losses instead of 2.
Because they put CoreJJ, they put Ayla back in that one time.
Yeah,
It screwed me over.
It happens.
I will say, like, for TL, at this point, we were talking in waiting room about experimentation. We were asking it from the C9 lens. I do think for the TL lens, it's something that I think they have a little bit more versatility. Bwipo is more down to play tanks and weak side than I think Summit is. So I would love to see TL spend these next 4 games heading into playoffs, working on a breadth of strategies, whether that's snowballing through Han Sama, whether that's snowballing through Bwipo, or what I'd really like to see is start putting Bjergsen on the Ahri, start putting him on some of these champs that are beginning to work their way into the meta where you have a little bit more agency yourself, and work on that. I know he said, oh, my teammates are so good, they don't need me.
Yeah.
But if you ever end up in a situation where they're skill checked in their matchups, you might be the one they need.
True. In fact, I mean, on blue side, if you start throwing in a cheeky little flex, it becomes insanely tough for that red side team to get more counter picks, right? And especially if you're in a best of 5, you want to, hey, now you got to force teams to like ban a Kai'Sa, right? If you're going to be first picking Kai'Sa with the intent to throw it mid as well, that would be nice to have in the arsenal of TL.
Kai'Sa's, and I was wondering where you were going with that. I was like, what top lane, mid lane champion do you want them to? But you were
this guy says
ADC.
Yeah,
there we go.
Gotta love it. No more Zillion? Is that what we're saying? Why not Zillion?
Zillion, you already got the Zillion.
I want them to play Zillion. I just want them to also play the more dominant mid jungle 2v2s heading forward.
Well, that's what I was going to say is he always has the Zillion, right? Like,
Yep.
we're not, are we really worried about Bjergsen Zillion? Like, even when it looked like he was still taking time to get back into playing professionally and lock-in, his first big game was on that pick where he was just like everywhere on the map. So, I think going forward, it would be really interesting to see him test out more of these 1v1 matchups, especially if you're looking at, and I know we showed it in some of our footage earlier, but if Santorin is doing those early ganks towards mid, get some setups like we've seen him do with Bjergsen a few times, but also that became almost like a patented staple of TL last year with Jensen.
Yeah, and also like once you get those leads, just try and steamroll it, be a lot more aggressive, be more willing to take risks with dives, right? I know last week, we already just went away from the Immortals game, but like, so if you want to make mistakes. You want to be able to like figure out, oh, this is a horrendous dive. Thank God we figured it out now. That we are already qualified rather than in the actual playoff run itself. So that's something I'm looking for while CLG is the team that's trying to get in.
Exactly, right? Yeah, TL has the room to breathe and to make mistakes. CLG, on the other hand, does not have the room to breathe anymore and make mistakes. On the mid lane point, though, I'm kind of curious coming off of the State Farm Neighborhood Tactics where we showed Contractz going mid multiple times to try and create that space for Palafox. And now with the idea that Santorin might do the same, does this become a far more mid-focused matchup, but specifically between these two teams?
I want to talk about the strength of schedule, to be honest. When it came up,
all right, talk about the strength of schedule, Mark.
They have a really tough week with TL and C9, and this is one of the reasons when we were showing Immortals earlier about who they can try and leapfrog over the standings. This is one of the things. I think for CLG, they probably want to steal one of these if they can. 3-2 on the back half or 2-3, excuse me. It might not be enough to make playoffs if you're going in at 7 and 11 and whatever it is. You might not get in at that point. So they really want to try and find one here, and I think TL is maybe the easier of the two to that point. Maybe it is, as you're saying, a mid-jungle combination that can get it done.
I also think I want to reiterate something that we heard from last week, because we talked to CLG coaching staff, right? And they were basically like, we want to make sure that we're showing week-to-week progress. And so although I definitely think CLG is looking for playoffs, if they can continue to show growth from week to week, I'll be really happy for them in that regard too, because I think we've already seen it in their early games.
Yeah, the growth that we have seen is the fact that they were able to play through mid, so I kind of expect that for this game. And also their jungle and support has just gotten so much better at being able to maintain the vision that they have on the map. So if they have a lead, they'll keep it. That's why I hope early game, that's a focus for me for CLG today.
I'll add to that growth point. Last week, beginning of the week, we said we weren't talking about this team as a possible playoff team. And now all of a sudden they do have an outside shot to get it done. Getting a win here, a surprise win over Team Liquid, would do wonders in service of that goal. We'll see if they can make it happen. With that, we're back out to Azael and the new guy for the call.
Welcome back.
You're the new guy.
I'm the new guy.
I'm Azael.
That's true. It's excited to be here. Fun catch in the LCS. Things are having me. It's a really honor, to come up here in front of these big teams and the big stage.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe, just maybe, you're lucky enough that I
cast with me.
It is an honor to cast with you. You are a literal world champion.
Thank you.
You've casted world championships as well in, I'm going to guess, 3 titles?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
About 3 titles?
Yeah.
So, what can I do to measure up? We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll talk past something. CLG are 1 game behind playoffs. Right now, that bubble is at 6 wins, which Evil Geniuses lives at. Team Liquid are 1 game from locking a playoff spot. 11 wins is playoffs. It is a guarantee at that point on. You can't have enough teams reach them there. So, I mean, TL, we're expecting can pretty cleanly coast into second. They can fight for first. Cloud9 drops the game, of course, and tiebreak later on. But these teams are definitely in very different spots right now.
Absolutely. And I mean, if CLG actually gets 1 win this weekend, it would be huge for them because they have TL and C9. Their super week is pretty manageable. They have a realistic shot to make it into playoffs. But if they get a win here, that makes it so much more easy for them next week to get 1 unexpected win. I did like the segment here from Emily, earlier, the Telestrator breakdown, and Des talked about it a lot, that they are willing to play more early and aggressive through mid-jungle. The Rek'Sai game was a good example of that. Early gank, forces the flash, wraparound gank, gets the kill. You want to see those types of aggressive looks from a team like CLG going up against TL. Of course, it is going to be difficult because TL is incredibly good at their laning, at the team fighting, really kind of all aspects, which does make it difficult.
Yeah.
Ezreal, I think, would make a lot of sense as an answer into the Hecarim, just kind of try to keep you safe from some of the dive, but could just be a hover. I'm not going to get too baited by the hovers as they're kind of going through them, but Ahri coming through from Bjergsen here. So blind Ahri, I mean, is actually very high priority overall. On 12.5, it is, the 4th highest presence pick across all the major leagues. So is getting a lot of picks, is getting a lot of bans. We're going to get to see Bjergsen play that for the first time, which should be exciting. Has been showing us, more and more in that champion pool. And Hansama will be back to the Zeri, where they did actually lose against C9 last week. It was, on that Zeri pick. So not shying away from it yet.
No, not indeed. 16th time in his career playing the champion. Obviously, Ahri's been around for basically ever.
Yeah.
Wins just slightly less than his career average, but generally reasonably confident on the pick. Twisted Fate is still in. CLG, one of the few teams still playing a lot of TF. It feels like the champion has fallen off a fair bit.
It's interesting because I wonder if this means that they're going to actually play split push through Jenkins, right? Because you have to play heavily to one side or the other. Generally, TF is played to try to go heavily to one side. This could be Lucian top or bot. It is a potential as a flex, so maybe, if a blind top comes through that you think the Lucian is a good matchup into, then you could grab that. But for now, we are going to expect that Luger will be piloting the Lucian. And if you are going to have that Lucian on the bottom side, you want to probably play heavily through it, utilizing the Hecarim, the TF, try to set up 4-man dives down on that bottom side, try to really punish the Zeri with some pretty big early game power.
I like this read though, right? I like CLG kind of adding a mix of old and new, where it's like, yeah, Hecarim is a really high price jungler. We get it, awesome, great. Like high tempo, really good mid-game spike. You can just kind of, you know, run into some team fights and get things going on. And hey, Lucian got buffed. Lucian's really, really good now. Cool, let's go on that one, right? And now we've got a dominant bot laner, right? Lucian has really good early lane. Doesn't need to get the Shen upgrades to win lane like Zeri does. I think Lucian can win lane from one of the good support matchup. Okay, we got pushing lanes, we got a fast jungler. Twisted Fate comes to join, right? Like that whole comp makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see how he actually can perform, you know, on this Hecarim, because I think Contractz probably his worst game of the year. I think this was maybe even back in lock-in, was actually Hecarim versus TL, where he was really struggling to kind of pick his engages. And there's this one fight that is burned into my mind by Rift Herald, where Bwipo is playing the Graves, and he's really kind of waffling back and forth on if he wants to ult this 10% HP Graves, and it's just getting killed, basically, you know, from full, slowly chipped down. So we need to see kind of that killer instinct, the confidence that's being built. I think Contractz has been massively better over the last 2 weeks. You know, had really started out very, very slow, was looking like he was losing confidence, but does seem to have rebuilt a lot of that through practice. And he is a guy that CLG needs to step up. He's got to be playing aggressive. He's got to enable his lanes. That's what you want from a player like Contractz, because he's very good mechanically, and he's kind of, you know, that blabber type of jungler. Like when he came in the league, that's how everyone look at him, is he is going to take aggressive fights and he's going to win them.
Yeah, I remember casting him in Challenger Series, like way back when. It's like, oh yeah, he's 1v9ing on Mundo Jungle because he's got the most gold, the most XP, and he's going to run on 3 people and kill them. And that was his style. I always thought of him as a carry-focused jungler, and you want to see that with confidence, right? This is so far looking like a dive-focused team.
Yeah.
And this is what has worked for CLG before. I mean, we think back to the win they got last week. It was a very aggressive dive-focused team. We got the Rek'Sai coming in for Contractz, and he got a lot going on down there. Ashe, another champ who has been buffed, both 2 patches ago, but also again in 12.5b, which is the one we're on right now. Fast arrows. Of course, yeah, Zeri's already there, so it's not going to happen. But again, a good champion.
Whoa.
And a Shen is in to counter the dive. I love that.
This is actually really cool. So CoreJJ, I was literally just watching play Shen in Champions Queue last night. So it could be support. It could also be for Bwipo. It is a pretty nice flex here. I do actually play a fair bit of Shen support myself. I like it quite a lot. It does have a pretty weak laning phase, I will say. But you do have really good potential to roam and post 6. The ability to answer cross-map plays becomes very, very powerful. If you can actually pull your support out of lane to roam with you, it is so good for Shen, because your 2v2 is very poor early on. So you want to try to get out on the map and be proactive and really force them to respond to you. We are going to find out, is this Lucian bot? We are assuming it is. If the Aatrox gets locked in, it will be.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have to find out, you know, what the answer will be from TL, if they're going to move Shen top or if they're going to move that to support. And last pick here from Bwipo. So a little bit of flex action going on both sides, trying to keep people guessing. I was really thinking, okay, what was the GP pick going to mean? Like, what was the GP ban, going to mean as far as what they wanted to play? I would not have guessed the Aatrox, to be honest with you. I was thinking that they were maybe going to look more towards like a blind tank or something, that we might see that option. But Tryndamere coming through, so not dissuaded by the fact that there is TF on the other side. It will be Shen support. So yes, Aatrox will get assistance from TF, but I think part of the hope is that you have this extra man that can answer on your side as well.
Yeah.
So if you can get Bwipo ahead early, he can play heavily through sides in a way that you can't normally do so against the TF, because Shen can ult in. You can utilize the parry zone to actually block the gold card. It's quite effective in that interaction. So I think a lot of it's going to come down to who gets the advantage through top lane. Because if you have that winning split push, it's going to be huge for your team.
Going to be fun to watch for. 3 champions across this patch have low presence. Aatrox, as well as the Shen, very uncommon. It's some fun innovation. Let's see it go.
This is the sort of pride that gets you in those big moments, allows you to take down giants.
And welcome back to the game. This is the 3rd Shen pick of 12.5 across all competitive leagues everywhere. And we get the one into the LCS here. So TL bringing something definitely outside of the meta.
Yeah.
TF, again, also pretty low presence, under 25%. Aatrox down even low beyond that one. So CLG taking some stuff up that they think is going to work for them. And yeah, CoreJJ bringing out the Shen.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I mean, I feel like CLG's comp is pretty kind of like mid-gamey, you know, as far as you look at the scaling. But, you know, they have a lot of champions that want to get action early. They have a lot of ways to actually find that action here. You know, with hard engage potential from the Rakan, from the Hecarim, you could dive in, try to make things happen. TL, I think, can play a little bit slower. I think being able to play through sides, you know, with the Tryndamere, you have more potential to actually like win the game through side lane with this comp here on TL.
And I'm excited to see what comes out of this one. Yeah. Obviously, Shen showing up. Those dives can be really incredible. We're like, all right, I'm invulnerable. All right, I'm down at 1% health and a Shen shield, by the way. And you're never killing the Tryndamere. Can play through that one. Obviously, TF, Aatrox should have some pressure. I think Lucian and Rakan should have a lot of pressure.
They're gonna invade.
Yeah, they're going to find a little bit of damage. Gets the move speed off of popping Poome's shield. Not much more to do here, but hey, you pad the stats there for Hansama.
A little bit of poke, a little bit of pressure. They get a ward on Raptors. Santorin sees a ward on their Raptors. No one's playing Sweeper, though, so not going to be able to actually sweep that out on either side. I'm expecting Core to just utilize, you know, early CDR. You know, that's what I like to do a lot on this. You know, maybe he'll have a different read on it, but I do think Lucidity boots early and a Kindle Gem feels super nice on Shen because your cooldowns are pretty long and you are fairly ultimate reliant as far as your playmaking. You know, that is such a strong tool, and that's kind of what I believe you really pick this champion for. Yes, the parry zone is nice against auto attackers, but it feels like more like Spellweaver. You know, when you think about Aatrox and Hecarim, like you're going to block potentially gold cards. That's something that Palafox is going to have to really watch out for. As long as you keep the Keyblade on top of yourself, you can just reactively do the parry zone to actually block gold card even for your teammates.
Yeah.
That is one of those things that, you know, you are not super easy to pull off because it depends on your positioning very heavily. But high-level Shen players can absolutely do that, and I expect Core to be looking for those types of plays.
Yeah, cue it to you if you have to, and press W. It activates when it's near your teammate, and yeah, maybe you get to block the stun, and it feels good about that one. Right now, fighting for the wave, and a double top means good damage. Guardian going to block a lot of it, but of course, Zeri eats the shield, walks fast through a knockup for Poome, and Luger is still running out of health despite level 2. CLG cannot win this fight, and it turns out, picking a bunch of shielding options, not very good against Zeri.
No, and man, that was actually really well done there by Core, finding the angle. CLG was trying to fight for 2, but he actually got it 1 minion. He got the taunt 1 minion before they could. He gets the double taunt, the Keyblade pull through, gives you the bonus damage and attack speed on your Q hits. And now they have Prio through bot, so Viego's gonna go look to invade here. Contractz has no smite. It's up in a couple seconds, but this is just Santorin's because he doesn't have it.
Okay, yeah, that is the power of, in a lot of cases, you can run Inspiration and you get the, like, what, 10% Summoner Haste?
They're going to take this too.
Let's go for the 3-minute invade. It's going to be really big damage. Smites for some health, loses the big cannon, and his Contractz running for his life. 200 health left. It's going to be enough to stay alive. They can't chase him down. However, Big Krug was taken. The rest of the camp's going to go to Santorin.
Yeah, and it gets a little bit dicey here for Luger. He's got to push it out to make sure that he can't actually be dove. Because Poome was shoved away from him, but nice aggressive pathing here from Santorin. Does 3 camps top, invades down towards that bottom side, takes away the red. Because of the push that TL had, they could go for that play, and they know they have the shove. They forced out Poome's flash, so they can actually continue the invade. That was the flash used, though, from Core onto Contractz, so they trade flash for Ghost. But some of the playmaking is now down here for Core, and it looks like he is playing Hex Flash, so can still look for some of those cheeky plays.
You can see Hans playing very far up. Honestly, I am surprised by the Rakan pick because until you're 6, Zeri has all the agency in this lane. One, she pokes off your shields, which is just like, whether your pass shield or your E, like, which is just good through her passive. But also, you can reactively dash to dodge the W knockup. Like, if you're paying attention, if your screen is like on, you know, your champion, you can just, oh, you're knocking me up. We're winning that one. So that support pick is for the comp more than the lane, because it's definitely not good in the lane. But, you know, we'll see how it plays out, because right now, obviously, TL are winning that 2-on-2.
And I feel like that's generally Rakan in almost every single lane. Like, Xayah Rakan lanes in the past were one of the exceptions because you kind of have the synergy there and you get the bonus from the Xayah W. But, you know, generally speaking, I see Rakan as almost universally a pretty weak laner, so it kind of allows Shen to maybe get through the lane in a way that you could have been punished otherwise for. But it does have very, very powerful engages, the ability to actually find unique angles as well, because you can be pretty safe going over a wall with your W to find a flank angle. If someone's there, you E back. You've got a lot of mobility, and they're going to have to make good on that later on to kind of justify this pick.
As the wave goes in, it's TL holding pressure the entire time. First dragon spawns in just 6 seconds. As the TPs come across the mid lane, Palafox is in with cooldown boots. I was curious what boots he was going to go for. Obviously, you can easily target Merc Treads against an Ahri, don't get assassinated. But getting the haste in time and getting it, by the way, before it's the wave after this one. You'll hit 6. First 3 melees in the cannon wave is level 6. But you don't drop any CS. That's going to be when you want the haste to get, 25 seconds after first ulti.
And even though it's pretty small, it always just feels nice, like intellectually, to be like, hey, I bought my Lucidity boots and then I TP'd back for the first time. Those kind of plays.
Yeah.
Where you have the summoner spell haste. Yeah, it's only 12 or whatever. It's not that big of a deal, but it still feels nice.
Yeah.
And they are very satisfying boots to have for sure. So we'll see how he wants to play that out. But agreed. I mean, there is always the danger of if you get hit by a charm or a taunt or something like that, that is going to be pretty threatening. But feeling confident, he knows he has to make plays in the early mid game. I do think that's where this comp is kind of built to succeed. So this is going to enable him to have a little bit more playmaking.
A little bit of money earned as the control goes down. CLG able to get the red of the vision so that we can maybe get Contractz into the right spot at the right time. Actually, Palafox handed over a couple of these now. Is level 6 in this one, and so guess what? A fight in the bottom river. Gonna put on the revision, gonna find that first stun. Now can they kill Santorin? Tackles him in, but the fight is now back on Palafox. Ults to get away. He will get out. Now, do they have the damage? And they do not. The collapse is in. And first blood is through on a Bjergsen. And now there is a Hecarim coming in, but no way to get over the wall. It's gonna be Poome walking away with Luger. Sadly, CLG lose the fight in the bottom side.
Yeah, and it's first blood there over onto Bjergsen. That's a big deal for the Ahri here early on. Means that not only do they get the kill, they're also going to grab the dragon. They're going to get that stacking up here. 6:30 into the game. TL with a fantastic start on this bottom side, and Contractz trying to push in for that kill, just couldn't find it.
Gets away from the knock. You can see if that knockup lands, obviously you have to burn the flash instead on Hansama, but those traits can look good, right? There was a lot of burst available. You have to be able to actually land the CC to lock him down, and Hansama will sustain back up.
I'm going to be able to be in a pretty good spot. Has the early sheen. We can see this one more time as CLG, we're walking in, clearing out vision here around mid lane. And Shen is coming in for the collapse. Santorin is there, so they just think that they can fight. Zeri's moving up more quickly than the enemy bot laner is. So yes, jungler is here first. Contractz gets in onto Santorin, but the charm was so big for Bjergsen, buying time. The Guardian Shield helping out as well. Hans is just pushing them back on the other side. So Contractz diving deep in what would have been maybe a 1-for-1. But even with him dying there, even if you get the kill, you're probably going to lose Dragon because they were a lot less healthy.
Yeah, look pretty good. So Team Liquid have their 500 gold lead. We'll say that means TL's doing pretty well in lane. Of course, some of that is going to be the TF passive, but equal CS here as Jenkins taking his losses very little by little up against Bwipo, who's got a 15 CS lead himself. There's the combo. That's what they're looking for. They get him over the wall. The flash wasn't burned. He didn't react in time. And Hansama goes down. CLG bot lane doing the heavy lifting now of another trade in the top side. I mean, that's the kind of damage you can do. The problem is, can you do it again before Bwipo heals back up?
Yeah, and the answer is no, unfortunately, as he walked away into the river. But that is a lot of burst, and that is kind of the terror that Lucian is in some of these situations. You get the PTA proc, you have the passive damage proc on, having your duo around there. It's a lot of upfront burst, and Hans takes the bad end of that. Obviously has no health, no defensive stats built up here early on. No heal, no exhaust, so just gets absolutely lit up. Teal, though, on the top side, going to be able to grab Herald for themselves. Hecarim's way too far away, so can't really contest this one. And could take this potentially up towards top side, but don't have to drop it just yet. I think that's the most likely position that they would drop it, because I think they want Bwipo to be winning out in this situation. We're going to watch this one more time. The setup on this is CLG had the push. They just dip in a river, and I think they're trying to kind of show, hey, we're going for vision play. We're clearing something out. I will say, given the vision that TL has, they didn't pass the scuttle and they didn't walk through try, so you should actually know that they're there, because TL had two kind of spots of vision that really gave them all the info. You can see question mark pings even down towards that bot side, so I'm not really sure where they thought they went. They saw them go into river, they have wards everywhere else, and Core actually checked the side brush, so by process of elimination, they're in base or they're there.
It was the recall timing to go buy boots 2, basically, is what it looked like.
Yeah.
And just like you were going to recall out of that brush, like right there, they're sweeping. Like a very common play is, yeah, you dip in a fog alert and you recall there. And like, yeah, again, it's a misplay, right? To be clear, it is a misplay, but CLG is like, look, 80% of the time we recall on that brush, and you check the bottom side, then we're out, and 20% of the time we make that play, and hey, you misplayed it.
And here's the one thing, is that Zeri checks those brushes for free with your W.
True.
It actually reveals vision, right? So that's why I'm a little bit more critical of it, is it's one of those situations where there's only one place they could possibly be, literally.
Yep.
You just press your W, you never die to that.
That's true. That's a misplay, but it happens, and sometimes those plays work out for you. Control ward in the brush. It's going to be Poome knocking that one back down thanks to the 10 gold. Ooh, nice. It was Luger's ward. Luger put a control ward down. He was rewarded with 10 gold. Ah, you'd love to see it. That's vision score, by the way. You get credit on that one. because you were the one who you know, swept it out.
Killed it.
So huge dub right there in the bottom side.
Is it a huge dub?
Listen, it's a close game here. The fact that CLG are out of playoffs and currently right now,
That's a
neck and neck
huge
with
dub.
TL,
I'm
that's
just
a huge dub.
debating the control ward being cleared out for pitch and score.
80 carries buying a control ward is a huge dub.
That is a huge dub. I've
buy
never
them,
seen that before.
But a lot of the 80 carries I see end that game with 0 on that score, and I'm like, you're trolling.
All right, TL moving down towards this bottom side. Herald is still there on Santorin, has about half the time remaining, so not really any big pressure yet to drop it down, but just kind of slowly, steadily trading farm on this bottom side. Pretty even game here overall. You can see Bwipo working towards his mythic. It is, again, not going to be the Hullbreaker. Hullbreaker not nerf for melee, but everyone on that patch seems to have just decided, hey, actually, just don't go Hullbreaker on Tryndamere anymore, even though it wasn't changed. It's just like, yep, just not the item for me.
We're off. Yeah, it's not going to know anymore. It's not going to trend either, honestly. You know, it's just like, all right.
It is really interesting how that happens. And I don't know if this is like, oh, there's different matchups, and they actually just think in the different matchups now that you need to be building a different item. I don't know. I'm also interested to see if he's actually going to go Gale Force, which is kind of the more common, or if he's going to go towards Kraken, which some people do if they want to fully commit more, just kind of like having kill pressure in a side lane. Against a tankier champion like the Aatrox, but I just think Gale Force mobility is so powerful if you ever want to group.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually feel like in this match specifically, it's a bit more movement-based, right? You want to dodge spot Qs, you want to get out of this. Like, I agree with your point. If he's against Ornn, I think it's literally always Kraken, right? Like, you buy that, it's a Malphite, you buy Kraken, you actually get through the guy. In this one, I actually think you want the Gale Force dash. We'll see, though, right? I think
Gale Force is probably going to be what it is, but Aatrox can get pretty tanky with some bruiser items and the amount of self-healing. Like,
yeah, that's true.
It sometimes does feel like you need some pretty high DPS to actually pump through that character. As he's just going to kind of sit back, and once he gets some CDR, he just kind of farms with his Qs, and you don't really get to interact that much, but we'll see if they can create any sort of advantage. Herald's just going to be dropped down mid, as he had been holding on to that for quite some time. Yeah. Should get them about 3 plates, because they already have the first one almost completely gone. We'll see if they can finish off that last little bit of damage. So yeah, 3 plates. Bjergsen even gets solo plate gold on that last one.
That's very good.
So feeling pretty nice as he got first blood. Now a little bit more gold dumped into his pockets. He is the gold leader of the game, despite the fact that TF has a lot of extra gold from passive.
He prints 4 gold per CS, so multiply that one out, 520, something around there. But guess what? 3 plates, well, 2 plates, 320 to you, to Bjergsen specifically, as the share went. He's a pretty rich man. Close game in gold, but Team Liquid, much like we saw in the previous one, actually had a lot of pressure in the bottom lane. I mean, good trading by CoreJJ at level 2, and from then on, actually stacked up the first 2 dragons very, very quickly. We're once again on the way to a sub-25-minute Dragon Soul. So CLG are on a clock. It is Kraken, so you identified it as Contractz goes for the double camp here. Not going to be much of a problem for him. He, of course, going to grab his blue buff. I
kind of identified it by also assuming it was Gale Force. I just think having played against Aatrox a fair bit, I often feel like it's like, oh, he's not that tanky, he's just a fighter, but actually he's so hard to kill. You really do need to put out a tremendous amount of damage when you take into account all the self-healing he does. If Bwipo wants to play for sides, I do think this is defensible. I think you can go this, and then you can go even into an Executioner, some sort of heal cut, and then really start to get some pressure. You are going to need tier 2 boots, of course, because I agree, move speed is very important. But I want to see how he's going to look to play it. Now that Core is post 6, you can start to get a lot more aggressive.
That goes in for the play. Ghost actually popped there as well. Bwipo really wants this fight right now. Kraken Slayer is a lot of damage. A flash for safety. Here comes TF. He's going to flash the stun.
That's it.
The last auto gets him, but Everfrost should be enough. Shen's coming. Shen's coming. The shield's too much. The ignite. Will it kill him? No, the man is going to live. Would you believe it? The exact combo. Tryndamere into Shen ult into 2 for nothing. Team Liquid even steal a red buff away.
Not even close. Bwipo, not even a bead of sweat on his brow. He walks away. More health than he needed there. Yeah, Kraken does some real damage, man. The true damage hit, when you get lethal tempo fully stacked up, you are slapping. You are slapping fast, and that bonus damage coming through was massive. The last auto, as he gets gold card stun, comes through, kills Jenkins. And that allows him to be able to turn it around, as we're going to see Zeri probably die here.
Over the wall, though, and the fear does hit, though. He gets the fear, and that's going to be enough. Ult Flash does not get him away in time. Hansama's out of summoners.
Yeah, Hans early cleansed. I think he tried to pre-cleanse the Hecarim ulti because he got feared after it. I don't know what else he would have been cleansing.
The charm from Poome, maybe. If he can, cleanse Flash the charm and dodge the knockup, it's the only other thing you can do here.
But he cleansed, in the wall, it looked like, and then didn't have cleanse for the fear, so he flashed late and ends up dying. So Back to top side though, not going to matter there. Han's not having the cleanest game, I do think you have to say, but top side looking really, really good. They do get the punish on bot side though. If Core is going to ult towards top, he's going to roam towards top again. You have to get a cross map punish. CLG is able to do that because you need to have some sort of lane to play through, where TF can look to actually attack. Don't think it's going to be the Aatrox lane in this game after you're going to see Bwipo way far ahead. He's gotten 2 kills. He gets the tower local gold. He did get his tier 2 boots in there with the Zerker Greaves. We'll see what the Quick Cloak is going to be. I do think it makes sense to just go towards Mortal Minor Executioners, especially with this style of build. When you go Kraken, attack speed is so valuable. Right. Really, really powerful. So that plus the Mythic passive giving you additional 10% attack speed every time. Yep. You get some of those cheap Zeal items in, and it feels really good because Zeal items are already very efficient, and then you get the extra 10% attack speed on top. Assume this is back to that previous play, going for that early kill. So he just gets in behind him, basically. Lethal Temple stacked up. The Ghost is there. He's just slapping him down. Jenkins trying to buy time. He does flash. Palafox comes through, but it's that last auto. Just that nick of time coming in. The Ignite being used there by Palafox. I think he thought he had an easy kill. The Ignite, if that was used pre-Q heal, he kills him.
Oh, yeah.
But he actually had a full 300 heal on that Q. And then let's watch what the cleanse was. So he eased through the wall. Cleanse is used now. Yeah, he tried to Captain Jacket and he failed the timing. He actually tried to cleanse the Hecarim ulti as Hecarim was coming over the wall. Unfortunately for him, he misses the timing, so he gets feared after the cleanse, then flashes as the cleanse, as the fear, expires. But the auto attack had already come through. You can't flash auto attacks. That is already casted. That is already going through, so he dies on the other side of the flash. A little bit of a tough one there for him, but things looking great on that top side. There's the Zeal. Yep. So, Bwipo indexing towards that attack speed, but CLG, lots of members down here on this bottom side. They could look to try to fight away from Bwipo even, but that does open them up for the flank.
There's the reveal. Okay, they can walk in for a bit of damage here. Contract's gonna find this slow. They can do a lot, but he's gonna get a lot of time for himself here. So they burn the ulti down. Count down the 5 seconds. What else happens in the meantime? Aatrox drops. Bwipo gets out of range, and just like that, you burn an ulti. You thought you caught him, but TL's here for the comeback. Not gonna get much on the flash follow from Santorin, but they're gonna knock down the wards and get the vision, get the map, get the river all the same.
Yeah, gonna be able to push him out. They get the kill there. Trying to collapse onto Bwipo, but it's tough. I mean, TL are in the area, and you're gonna be able to buy so much time unless you kill him pre-ulti. And they don't have that kind of surprising burst to really be able to do it. So they get the kill. 3rd straight dragon here for TL. This one's feeling a lot like the game we just watched, where it is, fully in control of one team. They're up in gold and they're up in objectives. And when you're in that situation, it is very, very difficult to come back from. So here it is one more time. They try to fight away from the TL 4-man squad, go down towards Bwipo here as he kind of walks up. They see him coming out of that brush, but TL are close. So Bwipo didn't really have to buy that much time for them to come in. The Shen ult was immediately channeled there. He pops the R, gets the kill, spins out to safety with that Q heal. And then Santorin going through, looking for the Q3 plus flash, but the dash was already there for a Luger. He is going to stay safe, but TL went out on the fight, get a kill, get a dragon, and they're about 4 minutes away from taking the most powerful soul in the game.
Yeah, to rid of the Snowball, he has Rift here with Hextech. You saw a little bit ago, they went for the invade on the left side blue buff, took those, just gated away, and it was like, yeah, we can invade whenever we want, it's fine. So yeah, TL definitely in a commanding position now, as you mentioned, 4 minutes away from Hextech's soul, and Bjergsen now sitting in a brush. I don't believe got spotted by Palafox, so maybe gets a cheeky charm. Gonna walk up, just knock down the wave.
Just gonna look to play for push. Bwipo here, he's 2 levels up. You gotta be careful who you're messing with. When Tryndamere has ulti and he's ahead, if you let him get into melee range, he can just start the dive.
Ooh, decent damage. You're gonna force the ulti. Well played. He won't get pulled back, but can he get the rest? Jenkins has flash Q potentially. Yeah, and he forces the flash for flash straight. Bwipo not going to find a slow. Here's Palafox, absolutely no way out. They will get that kill. Nice collapse. Now, how about the TP? Because reinforcements are coming. 2 versus 3. Everfrost timed perfectly. Palafox having the best game he can for the most part. Able to get away.
Nice punish there. Jenkins just snapping him out of his dash under the tower. Bwipo is going for the kind of classic. His Contractz going in. Oh, no!
Contractz. He's going to get ulted on, but can he survive? Ult's away for his life. I don't think he fight this one anymore. In the bottom side, the Bjergsen, he's going to get away as well. Ghost was on. He's going to get out here. No one's going to die as Poome jumps back in. An attempt by CLG goes nowhere.
Yeah, very aggressive use of that gateway there. goes through, ends up having to use the ult and the ghost in retreat. But yeah, I mean, Jenkins snapped him out of his spinning slash, and that was the key thing. When you go into the tower, it's a very common harass. You walk up into melee range, you smack them once, you spin out, you hit them with the E plus the auto, and you can kind of whittle people down because Tryndamere has a lot of sustain. But in that situation, he actually got hit by the sweet spot of the Q as he's dashing out, locks him under tower there, has to be an early ulti pop, and then Palafox gets behind you. Nice kill from CLG, and the Bjergsen TP was definitely too late to really be able to react to that. I think they were looking more for the follow-up.
Oh, wow. Bwipo happens to be in that brush. He's going to try to live, pops the charm, and it's enough move speed. You don't want to go for that one until you get reinforcements, so eventually W goes back up to get away. That was very nearly a death.
Yeah, not bad at the end, though. He does end up trading the ghost from Bwipo there for his ulti, so if they're looking to fight, it probably hurts CLG, but for now, they are chilling, and he should have the ulti back before that next dragon fight, which is really going to be the big one. I'm just curious to see how CLG are going to try to do this.
Nice try on the knockup. Santorin able to get away just in time. It cleanse out of Hansama. Palafox CC chain, 3-man taunt, but no one's in range. CoreJJ starts a fight that he can't finish as CLG knock him back down. A big, gigantic charm, though. Bjergsen doing the heavy lifting. The knockup is in. The follow-through now, and big damage comes across. Going to find the ulti, going to find the second kill for Santorin.
He doesn't need to finish because the squad's got his back as TL able to get a lot there. They're going towards Baron. Gonna be able to pick this up as well here.
Wrong cough button. There's 3 boxes up here.
Just straight up burping. Like
I did that to Monte Cristo once in like 2012 Worlds. I did it to myself here.
I thought I heard something. I'm like, look over, and you're just
cough button 3. That ain't mine.
One. No, you're number 2.
Baron is down. Team Liquid in control of this game. They're a minute away from Seoul. They can do the instant reset, spend their gotten gains, and close the game out.
That was one of the craziest taunt flashes I've seen, though, because you don't get the full drag through. You normally get multi-man taunts. You actually have to flash taunt, not taunt flash, because you get the full hitbox then. But right as they stack up, they're like pixel stacked here. And Core's like, I can do this. 3-man taunt flash. That was really nicely done. Yes, he does go down, but the whole team is coming in here. They spend a lot of resources to kill him off. The charm is landed by Bjergsen. Great full combo comes through. Santorin with the follow-up, dives in, gets the stun, gets the kill, takes the Hecarim, just follow through and kill off another. And they just retreat back to the Baron. Now 4K ahead. They have Baron buff active for those bonus stats. And this is the soul fight. So really, you know, TL have a lot of extra stats from that Baron. It's more like almost like a 6K gold lead, probably.
Oh, yeah. It's looking really good right now. So we're going to try for the big play out of CLG. Can they make it happen? Palafox looking to find his first stun. Contractz now has ulti back up. It was burned before. They didn't have it to get away from the previous battle, but this is going to be a battle that CLG needs to find a way to win, or at least steal the dragon on. That's a good first stun. Trade it back with a charm, though, and Bjergsen's going to be okay. No follow-up just yet. Contractz needs to find the engage. They got to get the follow-up from Luger as well. Poome is on the flank, and Poome is not spotted just yet. However, Han's kind of marking it. Here comes the first play. Diving on in. Jenkins already down. Teamfight starts 5v4 for Liquid. Contractz finds a fear, but not much more. CLG scattered to the wins now. It's going to be Team Liquid getting everything. A TP to safety. The man will still die. Executed now by Santorin. And you're going to get everybody else. Luger's on the way out, but Santorin's on the chase. And Santorin would like to find the last kill. Maybe not a stun, but you've got Bwipo on the way over as well. Hextech solo's in. Tower is not going to save you. Team Liquid here to claim yet another kill.
TL, just absolute domination here. Poome was trying to find a flanking angle, but he was so far away. Bjergsen gets the charm onto Jenkins, and they just delete him straight up, and the fight was lost before Poome could even get in position to join. They're gonna get a lot of gold off this push, still have 45 seconds on that Baron. They push in, they take the tier 2, they're stealing away jungle, and Bjergsen, they're trying to look for a collapse on him.
Bit of damage, they're gonna find that charm with the knockup. Really good damage here on a Bjergsen. He's still between ulti, but it's flashed up in a second, and that's gonna be burned over. But however, Palafox can chase, stun into Everfrost, into a lot more damage. Is it enough though? Locker comes in from CoreJJ. Second knockup lands for Poome, and they get a stopwatch burned out. Trigger's gonna spot him. Nicely timed, perfection from Jenkins to claim 1, and the follow through. Is it good enough now? Santorin has an ulti to get away. He can always jump away, and it does so, immuning part of the gold card in the process as he heals up off the jungle camp.
Gonna be able to get out of there. Bjergsen, greedy path, I think that's just not taking the Hex Gates into consideration, to be honest with you. It's one of those things that I think a lot of people still aren't fully comfortable with the timings. He goes over to try to steal away the Wolves, it looked like, or potentially even the blue. With those Hex Gates, they get out of base so fast into their own jungle. They are able to have a very long chase down on Bjergsen. They get his flash, they get his Zhonya's. They do eventually kill him off. TL will just lose the 1, so not that big of a deal. He's going to be up. He's going to have all his cooldowns for the Elder fight, which is going to be the next thing on the table, likely for TL, unless they want to make a move towards that Baron, of course.
That's going to be damage on the Palafox. Okay, pretty good route happens. Who's going to be okay? Jenkins and Bjergsen now spotting each other on the bottom side, and Bjergsen could land this charm pretty easily. Which way will you juke? He goes in for the Everfrost first. Charm's going to be pretty easy afterwards, and that's going to be so much damage. Can heal back up a little bit as a bit more CC comes across, but Zeri has arrived, and well, once again, Santorin is now on a rampage. Palafox tries to dodge as many of the skill shots as he can, gets away from the ulti. Stun's going to be an easy one, and Hansama tends another kill now as they dive on back in. They find a bit more, and they will maybe get Santorin. Burns down with a Death Dance, and that's going to be at least one on the board. But the taunt lands, and that's going to be kill number 3 coming through now as well. CLG on the way out. Contractz galloping away to safety as Team Liquid take everything. Meanwhile, Bwipo pushing the top side.
Yeah, that's a 4v5 in bot lane, and TL are still coming out ahead there. They take down the bot lane inhibitor tower. Bwipo's going to be working on that top lane one. They're going to get that as well. It will be at least 2 inhibitors, you have to think, going down in quick succession here. And TL, with a lot more gold in their pockets now, closing in on that 11,000 gold lead, will take away the enemy jungle camps on their exits. A TP flank potentially coming through. They're going to try to look for Tryndamere. We'll see if they can actually find him, but he's going to be tough to knock down.
A lot of CC layered pretty well. Cannot get over the wall at all. He can burn the ulti, spins in, and can he kill Palafox now as the shield comes across? A flash to safety. They'll trade him back out, but nearly takes one with him.
Almost gets Palafox. They do get the flash. That's a TF ulti. That's a TP from Jenkins. So CLG had to go for a play. They had to try to get something, but unfortunately for them, it's not going to mean too much. People will be back up for the Baron, for the next objective, so they can't get anything off of the back of that. And you can look at Bwipo. He's getting so damn strong. He did go for the heal cut, so he has the Mortal Reminder. He's got the Quick Blades in there, and it's going to be IE 4th. When he completes that, a couple crits, and any squishy is going to be going down.
Wave goes down, money coming in. But Team Liquid, it feels like they have so many ways to play this one. They're the ones all the cards, despite the champ select here, ironically. And we look to find their next play here. Baron's up in 30 seconds. We know that the Bwipo split requires 3, maybe 4 if you don't want to trade one back.
Yeah.
And until the Zhonya's comes through for Palafox, like that's always a near trade every time.
That is really, really hard for them to actually look towards Bwipo. You know, any sort of long lane where he has the ability to chase you down is going to be incredibly dangerous. They just don't seem to be able to kind of lock him down and kite him out long enough to actually make anything happen. He's a couple of levels ahead of the game now. Up there at 16, highest member on CLG is 14. So, you know, maxing out all those basic abilities. Last couple points you expect to go into the ultimate here, but they are already on the Baron. They are working through this very, very quick.
We'll see if he's a number who will max the ult over the Mach and Shout. So I've seen kind of a mix of those ones. So we'll see which way he goes. But regardless, we've got the Baron to play for. Knock is going to be landed. Decent damage, but CoreJJ as a tank finds the taunt into Flash. And once again, it's going to be the death. Jenkins is gone. Charm looks pretty good. Fear into the back line. Zhonya's for Bjergsen buys a lot of time, though, and now they're going to go in for a whole lot more. Everfrost going to lock in 3, and count them as they start falling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. TL can count. It's not 4th place this time. They're going for title number 5, as they're going to find their 11th win of the split. The Bud Light Ace, a 29-minute victory, taking the win they expected to do from the beginning. They're going to knock down CLG in quick order.
Back-to-back stomps today. TL looking great in this one. Domination on the top side. Bwipo looking really, really strong, and Bjergsen hitting so many key charms, it felt like, in a lot of these skirmishes, in a lot of these fights. Had a really strong performance. The support Shen works out very well. CoreJJ active on the map here early, getting benefit out of that pick. It's fun to see TL, one of the top teams in the league, continually branching out. You know, this is a team that has been known for a lot of years for playing very, very standard, but you've got to give them their due, because this year they have been one of the more flexible teams, one of the more creative teams. They're willing to constantly bring out all kinds of different picks. I mean, Bwipo, we've seen constant new stuff come out from him. Bjergsen with another new pick here today. CoreJJ bringing out a new pick with that support Shen. So it's been really a joy to watch some of the top teams in the league this year who are playing with a lot of confidence, who are playing with a lot of flexibility, trying things out in draft, mixing it up. and I'm getting excited to see what their read on what the true strongest picks for their team is come playoffs, because that's when we're going to get the true test of what they think are their best 5 champs on any given day.
Absolutely, and it is good to see also the burden shift around a little bit. The fact that Bjergsen finally had one of those pop-off games. They put him on a more damage-oriented champion, one who's not just, oh well, I'm going to backline and play Corki and Victor and it's fine. In the team fights, I'll just press the buttons. Like Ahri is there to actually go make plays, to start the flank or to get the roam off and get things done. And I thought we saw that really well out of Bjergsen. I thought his Ahri was really good. It was kind of instrumental in winning because of how back and forth the bot lane was, and the fact that the first bottom river fight for First Blood, like Bjergsen got to land those shots for that fight to actually go well for them, because initially it was Santorin getting attacked first. So definitely a fun one here. Now we of course have a post game to go for. We are heading over to the stage to join LeTigress and Santorin for our Verizon post game interview.
Thank you so much, Phreak. I've got Santorin here representing Team Liquid off of our second dominating victory of the day, to be honest. A lot of top trio action. What do you think that Team Liquid's greatest strength in this game was?
Honestly, I think teamwork. We went for the early invade and we're all ready to go. And since then, we just, it's just like a slow and methodical game. Just take all the dragons, take all the objectives, slowly just, it's just like a kind of a clean game. And that's, what we like to see for us, because, we've kind of had a lot of games where we make a big throw in the middle of the game. So we didn't have it this time. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, really trying to focus in on a lot of those details, right?
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to the way this team has been operating, though, the casters were just talking about Team Liquid being known for a certain style in the past. It feels like this time around, really trying to diversify. As a mainstay on this squad, how important is to you and the rest of the squad to create all these different waves of advantages?
I mean, this is the most exciting part of this team is like when I, re-sign with the team, when I see the roster, anyone can carry, anyone can play for the team. And I think that's, why we should be such a dominant team, because usually you have teams and you have like one style or maybe 2 styles, but here I feel like we can play through any role, and that's like a big advantage for us.
Which puts a lot on you as the jungler to play around all of those ways as well. I know that Team Liquid and Cloud9 have been the talk of the top for a bit. Some others think there's not that much of a gap, though. Some members of 100 Thieves, for instance. How much of a distance do you feel there is between those top 2s and the rest of the league?
I think there's a decent gap between TL and C9 and the rest. When I play Cloud9, I can feel they're a strong team. When I play all the other teams, they're good teams, but I feel like this kind of like where I go back to like one style. Like 100 Thieves, like very good at playing aggressive and playing like the team fighting style. Whereas like I feel like Cloud9 is like very flexible, and I think that makes them a lot stronger of a team because they play all these different drafts, all these different styles, and that's kind of like what we're trying to do as well. And that just makes you a way harder opponent.
Flexibility at the top seems to be a common line.
Yeah.
Santorin, thank you for joining me for this interview. Congrats on the win once again.
Thank you.
Another break for us to be had here on the LCS. On the other side, the State Farm Analyst Desk will break all of this down for you. We'll see you there.
Meowsen? It's kind of close, yeah. It's kind of close. It's legit too close. Meowsen. Meow, meow.
Rocket Slayer is a lot of damage. A flash for safety. Here comes TF. He's going to flash the stun.
That's it.
The last auto gets him, but Everfrost should be enough. Shen's coming. Shen's coming.
Oh!
The shield's too much. But now they're going to go in for a whole lot more. Everfrost going to lock in 3 and count them as they start falling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. TL can count. It's not 4th place this time. They're going for title number 5.
I call it the wheel.
I don't think so. This is a miss.
Brother David, behold! It's a fork.
I got dead forks right here, baby! A toilet? We're not animals. We go outside like humans.
Hancock.
No king! The people shall have the right to vote. Even the stupid ones? Yes!
Edison, can I be honest with you? It stinks.
Nobody's gone to the moon, ever. Why not? It's far. It's too far. It's far.
の未来はポータブルミュージックです。
バカか。出て行け。語りがいいでもやるぞ。語り。
Like I was saying, it's FTX. It's a safe and easy way to get into crypto.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I'm never wrong about this stuff. Never.